welcome to another episode of Project Analysis Series, and today we'll be doing ELTA at Clementi. So if you have been following on the property news, you would have known that Ori, that was the last launch previously, right, at Toa Payoh, was a very successful project that was launched on that day, and close to 86% sold on that
on day one, right? Yeah, so in fact on day two, there were about close to 10 over units out for reballoting. And guess what? There's hundreds over of people trying to reballot for that 10 units, even though with a price increment on day two, and people still go for it.
And launch day itself, right, we actually saw prices hitting close to or even exceeding 3,000 PSF for the higher floors.
Yes.
But one thing we really noticed, right, is usually we would think that lower floor will go off first.
Yes. And
but
what
for
happened
Ori,
was that, right, for Ori, right, actually low floor went off first, followed by mid floor, but mid floor did not went off first. The highest two floor actually went off first. Why is it so?
I think most of those people that buy the highest floor are like for own stay, because they like the view,
the view,
right?
Yes, more emotional, you know, it's for long-term stay. That's why view is very important for high-rise development. Yes.
So with the successful launch of Ori, right, will we be expecting similar good prices in ELTA itself?
Personally, I feel that ELTA will be pretty much very attractive price. But why is it so? Because to this episode, we actually did an analyze on the pricing that developer will likely be marketing at. Yes.
So this is actually very important. Why? Because with when we understand how the developer actually priced the units, right, we will actually be more prepared to go in to do the booking.
Yes.
What we don't want is when we enter, we panic, we don't know what to do in Kanchong, and then end up booking the wrong unit, right?
So on the launch day, sure everybody will get panic, right?
Yes, very
you
crazy.
want to have a very good queue number, but in the end you select the wrong unit. That's the last thing that we want it to happen on you. Right?
So with today's episode, right, you have a better understanding based on the past projects, what the developers did and how they strategize.
Yes.
And we're going to use that to bring and predict ELTA's pricing.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so ELTA will be previewing on the 7th of February and booking day will be on the 22nd of February.
Wow, which is pretty soon during the CNY period.
I think right after the 2 then straight away you can start to preview already. Yeah.
Can bring your family down for viewing during your Friday. Yeah. So this is a location map of ELTA, and you can see that where are we? We are over here, which is pretty close. In fact, just right opposite Nanhua High School, right? Yeah. And along this belt, there are a few other developments, which is.
We have Clevon and Cameron Clanopy. So ELTA is actually sandwiched between these two projects, and ELTA is probably the last plot of land in this whole Clementi Avenue 1 area. Yeah. So if you really want to buy something in Clementi, this is your last chance.
Yes. And in this area, you can see, just like I mentioned, there are a couple of schools over. You can see schools, NUS, international schools, as well as NUH and NUS.
Actually, if you stay in this area, right, technically you don't need to move for the next 10 to 12 years or more, because you can from primary school all the way until university in this whole stretch, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of rentability, I feel that we have very good tenant profile because of the schools around, the science park which is nearby, as well as the hospital, the university students that's coming in. So rentability shouldn't be an issue in this area.
In fact, it's one of the highest rental yield area.
I mean, decent, very decent rental yield.
Yeah, so later we'll share, right?
Yes. Okay, so these are just some project information over here of ELTA. And you can see that the developer is who?
MCL and CSC. So later we'll share more of the projects that they did at the back. Total units 501 and estimated TOP is around 2029.
And for MCL Land, one of their latest development that was launched last year, it was actually Nava Grove, which we will be using Nava Grove to predict the launch pricing strategy for the developer by MCL, because this is spearheaded by MCL Land, right?
Actually, I'm quite biased towards MCL because currently I own an MCL project, and previously I did have a few friends that have who live in Park Esta and invited me, and I really like the whole entrance and the whole facade of this project. So MCL do have really good projects, and CSC as well have very good projects like Verdale and
Twinview, and they also build MRT lines, and as well as many buildings in Singapore.
So they are both very renowned. So if let's say you to buy into ELTA, I think you're going to get very good finishing as well.
Definitely.
Okay, so next we'll talk about the site plan, unit distribution, as well as unit mix. So over here at the site plan, right, you as mentioned earlier, ELTA is sandwiched between Clavon as well as Clement Canopy. Can you help me draw?
So we have Clavon to the left here and the Clement Canopy on the right side.
So right in front of Clementi Avenue 1, right, it's actually a school.
Yep, there's a school.
Nanhua, right?
So it's a Nanhua High School.
So if you're buying the units facing the school, actually, I think you need to clear above 7th floor and above. You'll be able to clear the school already.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you are more concerned towards like whether you'll be facing Clement Canopy as well as Clavon, right? Units don't actually face directly into the project, so don't need to worry about it. And also those units that are facing the AYE, right, the highway over here, do take note there is a setback of about 56 to 57 meters.
Decent setbacks, in my opinion.
So if let's say the sound is a concern for you, right, then what I would suggest is maybe you can go and view some resale properties in
the Clement Canopy or Clavon, you know, and try to view
whether
a
it's
unit that's facing the AYE to see whether if the view is acceptable or the sound level is acceptable. But I think the sound level can be solved by certain materials. Right?
Like those
acoustic blinds, curtains.
Which I think is provided.
I think yes. The glass likely will be double glazed.
Yeah, double glazed.
Likely, very likely.
And also the unit facing AYE, right? Actually, they have unblocked view because after AYE, it is the Pandan Reservoir view.
Yes.
So it's actually quite nice, lah.
Yeah, later we'll be showing the drone view, right? Yeah, so usually, right, premium is actually loaded on what? On the inside facing or the outside facing? What do you think?
I feel it's inside facing, lah, usually.
Yes.
Especially if it's facing highway, usually the highway is the less preferred choice, right?
Yeah, but one thing that I do know over here is that, right, you can see these are the bigger units, the 4 and 5 bedder that is facing the highway. Yeah, but what this means is that there is a possibility that, you know, the premium will be loaded on the highway facing, which we have no information as of now.
So we cannot conclude or advise you whether inner facing or outer facing will be the premium loading lah. So that we will discuss on a separate note when we get the more prices lah.
Yes, so we will show you our price prediction later. All right. Yeah, so this is the setback.
As mentioned earlier, this is the setback, which is about 56 to 57 meters.
51 meters. Okay.
So over here we have the drone view of the surrounding. For the southern side, right,
southern side, we are actually facing what? Facing the sea view. And very unblocked over here, you can see this is the landed housing, which you won't go.
And very low rise, low rise. So your view is quite fixed there.
Yes, and facing the up on the other side, right? It's actually facing the north facing. Yeah, still very decent view because the school is over here. So anything that clears level 7, you get very good setback from the other building that's right opposite us. So next we are going to talk about the distribution chart as well as the unit mix over here. What we can see from this unit mix that's provided by the developer is that if you notice, there's only one stack of the 1 plus study.
36 units only.
36 units. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and being 36 unit for 1 plus study, what does this mean to you as an owner over there? So
I think most of the people who buy 1 plus study are investors, right? So most of them will want to rent it out when it TOPs. So rental is very important in this area. So being very little supply of 1 plus study in this project itself means that you don't have much competition in the future when you rent out.
Correct.
And if let's say even if you buy a low floor, when you want to rent it out, when all the high floors are rented out
and people taken and you're the only low floor left, right?
People will still rent
from you. Yes. And over here you can see that there is a good 35% of 2 bedders over here. And what we can notice on the 3 bedder, right, there's only this 3 bedroom compact has 2 stacks.
The rest all one stack only, right?
One stack only.
Yeah.
Yes, and we do have a dual key 4 bedder over here, which we'll share more later. Okay. So next we are going to talk about the pricing strategies of a developer over here. And today we are going to use Nava Grove, which is also done by MCL Land, right?
The determine, previous project before ELTA.
Yes, to determine and predict the pricing strategy that we're going to be happen for
because I believe like if they were to have a pricing strategy for Nava Grove, they'll probably use it for the same in ELTA because the launch date is like so close also, right?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. So understanding Nava Grove's pricing strategy will help us to have a better sensing of how they did it and use it to replicate and put it for ELTA to do the prediction.
Alright, and why I want to show this, right? Because just imagine if you can learn how to determine the developer's pricing strategy and you can determine what's a safe entry price, because with a safe entry price, it will lower your risk when you exit, right? And this is actually how people actually make money over here.
So moving forward, we'll take a look at Nava Grove's 2-bedroom price strategy. So this was the price list that was released because I'm also a Nava Grove owner. My father bought Nava Grove. So I was inside the group chat and they did share some prices. So today, let's take a look at the 2-bedroom price strategy, right?
Yep.
If you take a look, right, per floor jump from here to here, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, if you calculate, it is about 8,500 in terms of the jump, which when we calculate is 0.5 of the level 2 pricing.
Yep.
So every floor jump, right, there is a constant jump of 0.5%, which is 8,500.
Yes.
But if you take note, from level 7 to level 8, right, over here, there was an increase in the jump.
By 1%.
Yes.
Yes.
And after that, you will notice that these two pricing, level 8 and level 9,
Actually the same.
is the same.
Yeah,
So it's
didn't increase the
constant.
price for the next two level immediately after the 1% premium.
Yes. So after this, you'll notice that the jump is again constant at 0.5, 0.5, and another
Finally.
premium loading at level 17 to level 18.
Which is about 2.5% jump. And thereafter, level 17, level 18 and level 19 remains the same price.
Yes.
A 0.5% jump, but remains the same price. Right?
So this was what we noticed for the 2-bedroom. So does it apply to the 3-bedroom? Which
Yes.
we did also. So over here, you can see that the 3-bedroom price strategy, similarly per floor jump
Close
is
to
constant.
0.5%.
Is a 10.5k jump,
Yep.
and it's about close to
Close to
0.5 lah.
0.5,
Yes. So it's constant, all the way until level 7
7
and
and
8.
8 again. Okay, is it
Then-
a coincidence? No, it's because they got a certain pricing
Yes.
strategy to follow, right?
Yes. So it's about double of the constant jump here, which is about close to 1% lah, right? Then you realize that level 8 and level 9 are same price
pricing.
again. Then everything else again constant jump. Followed by level 17 to 18, there was a 2.6% jump in terms of pricing. Okay? And after that, you realize that there is a constant value at 18 and level 19. So this was what we realized in terms of their pattern as how they they strategize and concluded with this.
Yeah, so we observed that NCL price strategy, right, is as such because you can see from the 2-bedder, 3-bedder, they're actually using the same pricing strategy where we see that the per floor level jump is very constant of 0.5%, close to 0.5% over here. And once they hit the premium level, right, there will be a premium involved,
Jump.
which is in the case earlier, we can see that on the level
About
7 to 8, and then on the 17 to 18, there is a premium jump, which is over here. Okay, so after the premium jump, we see that what?
The next two
two
floors,
units, right, remains
same
the same
price.
price.
Yeah.
For the next two units. So, of course, if you the 2 units same price, you'll get the one that's higher floor, lah, right? Okay?
So using this, right, we're gonna map out and then translate to ELTA and
Yes.
see what are the predicted prices,
Correct.
which we
In
will share
fact,
soon.
I also observed that Margaretville, which is also by MCI, right? Yeah, they also adopt similar pricing strategy. But let's see if we adopt this strategy and put it into ELTA, what would the price be? So next we are going to talk about the 1-bedroom analysis over here. Okay.
So for 1-bedroom, as you can see over here, we only have one stack 10 at
Yep.
size 506, and it is the school facing, and total 36 units and only at 7%. So for the layout itself is very general, like a lot of the other
standard 1+ study layout
Yes.
in the market.
So a study room over here, entering to the house with the kitchenette as well, and dining and living here. So toilet is Jack and Jill concept, and one thing you do have to take note is that there's
A
this
long
part,
wall over here, a joint wall to our 3-bedroom,
which is
3-bedder by the
over
side.
here. If you can take a look.
Yep.
Yeah. So other than that, I think there's.
But I don't think it's much affected lah, because
Mm.
that's towards the side of the unit already. The balcony still has a pretty good view.
Yeah, you still have a very good view from the balcony.
Yes.
Just that you maybe can only under here lah, huh? Okay.
Okay, so next we'll be talking about a price prediction for a 1-bed plus study 506 square feet. And today we'll be using 2,200 PSF to determine the pricing strategy that developer is going to adopt over here. And why we use 2,200 PSF, later we'll be sharing with you how we derive into that number over here. Yeah, so assume if you were to use 2.2 PSF, on the lowest floor, level 4, we will see that what? the price is about 1.113 million thereabout. Yeah, which is pretty close to the resale price at the Claremont. Yeah, so I think Claudia have did an analysis for a resale at Claremont, right?
Claremont for the 1 bedroom resale is about close to 1 mil. So I would say is pretty much quite similar to the starting from price for ELTA itself. So if let's say you can buy a new launch at the resale price, then why not, right? Because there's more potential for you to grow and appreciate when you TOP.
Yes, so the highest floor with the developer pricing strategy involved is estimated about 1.33 mil thereabout. Yeah, so over here you can see this is the similar strategy that Nava have adopted, okay, by MCL Land. If we were to use the 0.5% constant jump per level from level 4 to level 12, okay, 0.5 jump, 0.5 jump, 0.5 jump, 0.5 jump, okay, it's about 2002 to about 2288 PSF.
Then we'll see the premium
then
jump.
we'll see a premium of about 1%, okay, at level 13 over here. And thereafter, immediately after the premium jump, there will be what? There will be 2 level
Same
where
price.
they have the same price over here. And 2 level, same price, you will get the lower floor or higher floor. Of course, go for the higher floor one, right? And thereafter, again, we'll see a constant jump again of 0.5% over here. Next premium jump is different already. It's going to be about 2.5% there, about plus minus, right? And again, immediately after the premium jump of 2.5% here, the next jump over here is a 0.5% where they share the same price. Yeah. And thereafter, again, the 0.5
But
jump.
do take note because ELTA is 39 stories high as compared to Nava, which was only 24. We might see another jump closer towards the 30 plus story there, but not confirmed lah. But if you want to have a safer calculation, I think you can consider adding 1 to 2% to your price, so that you can prepare yourself if let's say leftover units is only above 30 stories.
Yes. For example, if you prepare yourself to be 1.4 million and the price come out to be close to our prediction over here, maybe 1.35, 1.3, then you are all ready to go for it already.
Don't need to stress so much when you're
don't need to stress so
booking,
much.
Yeah.
And the next thing that we'll go into, right, is the rental yield for a 1-bedder using Claremont over here. Yeah, so Claremont, we have this 527 square feet 1-bedder. Bear in mind, this is what? This is pre-harmonized.
Pre-harmonized, yes.
Later we'll share with you more over here. But doesn't really affect pre-harmonized for a rental, right? Tenants also don't really care about it. Yeah, so over here you can see, right, for the rental in Claremont 1-bedder, the average PSF is about how much? It's about 3,600 over here.
Yeah.
Right?
But they are transacting at about close to 2,000 PSF, which works out to be about $1 million lah.
Correct. Yes, this is the sale PSF lah, right? And then this is the rental. So it's about how much of
now
the
we want to
rental
calculate
yield?
the rental yield. So rental at 3,006, purchase price is at about 1 million. So rental yield is about 4.1%.
4.1%, yeah, which is
very healthy.
Very healthy.
Yes.
We don't really see that often now in today's market. I'm not talking about how many years ago, right?
Yeah.
The people went there many years ago, but talking about today's context, 4.1% rental yield is very decent.
In fact, Clementi is one of the highest, most healthy rental yield that we have been seeing around.
Because of all the schools, all the One North, business parks, science
district,
park, are all in the area. Yep.
Very good tenant pool as well.
Very good tenant pool. Yeah. So rental yield for 1-bedder, maybe Claudia, you can share more.
Okay, so assuming that we are taking 2002 PSF, right, that Aaron has shared earlier over here for ELTA to purchase, 1 bedroom will be starting from $1.13 million, and rental, taking Claremont's rental for 1 bed plus study, right, at 3,006, we are looking at 3.88% rental yield,
which is very close to 4%.
Which is very good. I think so long as you're above 3% is considered quite good into this context.
Close,
here,
and
right?
this is 3.8%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you ask me, if you want to buy for rental yield, right, whether ELTA still makes sense or not, I would say yes, because ELTA only has 36 units of 1 bedroom, and everyone is buying at the same price, starting price from developer. As compared to buying Claremont now, right, you're actually entering at a higher PSF,
2,000 PSF
compared to those people who bought at the initial launch phase. So
most importantly, what must be risk-free lah.
Yes.
Right? When you go into a resale property, we're not here to sell Claremont, right? Yeah, 2,000 PSF for Claremont. Just imagine if you were to enter into this resale at Claremont, 2,000 PSF. What happens is that, right, all you need, right, is for one buyer or one owner in Claremont that bought on the launch day to sell below 2,000 PSF, to sell at a price lower than your entry price. Then this will make the whole Clever market drop already. But it's different at ELTA. Everybody enter at the same time, and very likely everybody want to make money and make profit out of it, right? Yeah, so this way you will at least minimize, the keyword is minimize your risk, like ensure that you have a safe purchase over here. Yeah, but the strategy when you come to one bedroom, right?
I think a lot of people would actually still consider buying one bedroom because we all start from somewhere. What?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean today I want to buy property, I can immediately buy a $3 million property.
Correct.
So if let's say budget constraint, I think one bedroom is something good to start with.
Yeah, because some people say that one bedroom investment may be hard to sell, take longer time to sell. But if your budget is really somewhere that can afford you a one bedder, then go for it. Why? Because you cannot afford a 2 bed, 1 bath, 2 bed, 2 bath, or
At least
even
start from something
you start
small.
from somewhere, right? Saving 200,000, I think is difficult. But you do force saving with properties, I think that number one, at the same time, you can do the part rent and part sell strategy, correct? You rent for 1-2 years, you get pretty good
Collect rental
rental
income,
already, followed by your profits in future. You have very good capital.
So in the future, when you sell it off, you can use this profit plus your down payment to down pay for the next
property,
which is slightly, hopefully bigger.
You can upsize to a 2 bed, 1 bath, 2 bed, 2 bath, or even buy a resale 3 bedder in future. You know, most importantly is to start somewhere and let your money work harder for you, right?
Okay, so for the rental yield, a lot of people tell me, Claudia, I think I would prefer to go for high floor. I don't want to go for low floor. But is that really true that rental yield for high floor is actually better? So over here we dug out some info from Clevon. We can see that the low floor, which is level 4, it was transacted at 3,006 for the rental, and compared to the 27th floor, which is high floor, at 3,007. So the difference is only $100. To be honest, it's not really a lot.
Not very significant. Yeah.
So if we use that to translate for ELTA, right, assuming that our rental is 3,006 on average, if you purchase a low floor at 2,002 PSF, we are looking at about 1.1 mil purchase price. Your yield would mean that you'll get 3.9%,
Yes.
which is pretty good.
Versus if you purchase a high floor unit, level 39 at 1.326 million, the yield is about 3.2%, which is still decent, above 3 I mentioned earlier. So the investment strategy over here, number one, right, is to what? Buy as low as possible, of course, right? Yeah, because why? The entry price is lower and will give you a higher rental yield. But what if until your Q number you don't have low floor? Does that mean that you don't buy a high floor? Yeah,
Still can lah.
I think still can right? Of course, when you buy high floor units, it means what? It's easier to rent out also, right? And also what? When it comes to resale, easier to sell, right? Because there'll be buyers out there who want a better view for their own stay or own investment, then they will go for a higher floor unit.
But as mentioned earlier, right, doesn't mean that low floor is going to be difficult to rent out, because if let's say for ELTA there's only 36 units, all the high floors all rented out already, and you're the only low floor one bedder or 1+ study in the area that is for rent, right, and people really want it, they will still go for it. They will still rent the place, right?
Especially there's only one whole stack only, right? There's no
so not much competition. No competition.
Yeah. Next, we'll talk about the 2-bedroom analysis. So for 2-bedroom, right, unit type, there are actually 3 types over here. We have the 2-bed, 1 bath, pretty standard, and 2-bed, 2 baths, as well as lastly 2-bed plus study over here. So firstly, let's take a look at 2-bed, 1 bath over here. So for 2-bed, 1 bath, we are at about 614 square feet for 2 types, okay? Similar. The difference...
B1, B2.
Yeah, B1, B2.
Same
so
size.
the difference is what? School facing versus a
AYE facing.
AYE facing over here. Yeah, both 1 stack only, 36 units over here. But is there really a difference, in these 2 layout, right? I feel that not much of a difference over here, right?
Yeah.
But the main difference is what?
Insignificant, actually. If you ask me, I think it's just the positioning of the rooms.
The room, this is a bit staggered over here, right? A bit staggered. Maybe you get a little bit more privacy over here, but these also have a slightly longer corridor over here. Yeah, but if 2 layout is very similar, then which one should you go for? Of course, it downs to the launch price on that day already, right?
Because the only the major difference between these 2 is the facing. One is school facing, one is AYE facing. So most importantly, like what Aaron said, launch day price, if they put the premium in the school facing or the AYE facing.
Yeah, then you will know which one to go for. Okay, so next, let's talk about price prediction. 2-bed, 1 bath, 614 square feet. And today we are going to use again 2,200 PSF across all prediction to determine the price from level 4 to level 39. Yeah, so for level 4, assume using 2,200 PSF is going to be 1.35 million. So honestly, at 1.35 million, it's pretty attractive. Will they launch at this price?
I hope so because it's gonna be super attractive.
Yes.
That time I was searching for my clients for some new launch at about 1 mil range, right? Then left over only like 1 plus study high floor at 1.3. So I think this is very worth it if you can get another additional room. You can rent out more easily, I guess, and sell out more easily.
So frankly, at 1.35 million, if really at this price is considered pretty cheap, and if it's like this, you should really go for it, right? Yeah. So over here, the highest floor you can see is about 1.608.
Based on this price strategy, right?
Yes, 1.608 over here. But what we want to see over here, right, is that, right, you can just imagine a mid floor over here is about 2,400 PSF thereabout. Yeah, for a post-harmonized development, 614 usable space. But in the development just right next door, Claremont, there are people transacting at about
2002, 2003 already. Already transacted. Yeah. So that translates to like if today you are buying a 2004 harmonized project, right? In the pre-harmonized phase, it's actually 2003.
About 2-3 there.
If you include the aircon ledge and everything.
So this means that what? Sounds like you are like
buying
a new development
at
resale price over here. Yeah. So honestly, right,
I think developers nowadays, they don't really price too crazy prices because what they really want is to sell out all their units, to be honest. Like all the past few launches we saw, right, all about like 70 plus, 80 plus % sale on launch day. I think this is the norm already for now.
Yeah. So the trend, right, for now, right, is that, right, developer want to clear 80% on the launch day. At least. Yeah. Last time, maybe developer will want to take their time to sell. But over here, I think moving on, and developer will want to sell 80% during launch day. Serious seller over here. Yeah, like for example, EOK from the start till the end of the launch day, not even a $1 increment. Even for the Ori, right, from the start till end, there is no $1 increment over here, except for day 2 during the reballoting, where they increase just a little bit, and people actually they increased by couple of percent, right? And people are still going for it. Yeah. So if you are talking about all these developer launching recently, right, even with the hot number of units moving very quickly, right, they are still not adjusting the price during the launch day.
So you can see that they are very serious.
They are serious seller over here, right? Because they want to do it fast. Yeah, and we
so
feel
if
that
the price really come out like what we predicted, right, I think it's really a no-brainer to go for it if you can still purchase properties now.
Correct. So if ELTA MCR land is going to move it this way, then I feel that you are really in a great position to go and enter into this development over here. Yeah, but we want to share with you more about pricing strategy later. Okay, right.
So next we'll talk about the 2-bedroom premium over here. So as you can see, there are two stacks, stack 14 as well as stack 03, B3P and B4P. So they are of the same size, and the only difference is that one is facing the school and one is facing AYE. And in terms of the layout wise, B4P will have a longer and more narrow walkway. And what this actually translates is that if let's say today you enter into the unit and you stand here, your view is more narrow, and then you feel that the house is more small, right? As compared to this one, which has a shorter walkway, and then you have a bigger view. So I feel that this will have a more bigger unit feel when you enter. But ultimately, I think in terms of layout wise, other than that,
I would prefer the B3P actually. Yeah, so if you were to go for B3P AYE facing, right, I feel that after all comes to booking day, it's definitely down to the pricing on booking day, and then to determine which one you should go for right? Because as of now, we still don't know what's the premium.
Where's the premium
is going to be, right? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the price prediction for 2-bed, 2-bath, 700 square feet, and assume at 2,200 PSF, the highest floor level 39 is actually 1.8 million over here, 1.8-ish million over here. And in other developments, something of this level, right, actually go beyond the 2 million and 2.1 million.
The recent launches, all the 2-bed, 2-bath, I think the higher floors all exceed 2 million.
Yeah, so and Clementi is in a pretty decent location, right? So I feel that at this price, you can go for a high floor because some other area, they already accept a price of 2.1 million already over here. Yeah, so assuming we are going to use the same Nava growth MCR land strategy, right? Pricing strategy, a 0.5% jump per level, okay? All the way with the inclusive of the premium of 1% here and 2.5% here, and here is all 0.5%. From the bottom floor to the top floor, the disparity is about close to about maybe about 18% thereabout.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we give like 1 to 2% more because we are not sure, as mentioned earlier, whether after 30th floor there's gonna be another premium jump. So better be safe to quote you higher than make you more
Yes.
prepared. Then go in,
Correct.
you see the price, okay, we buy, right?
Yes.
So next we'll move on to the 2 bedroom 2 plus study. So 2 plus study we only have one stack, which is stack 6, and it is AYE facing over here. And similarly, similar to the 1 plus study, right? We have this long protruding wall, which is the shed wall with the 4-bedder over here lah. Okay. Something to take note that's different from the 2 bed 2 bath is that it has a bigger living dining space lah. Okay. Yeah.
So for 2 bed plus study, actually, at 807 square feet is honestly
Quite big,
pretty huge lah.
Ori, I think was 700, right?
Ori 700 square feet.
Yeah.
And they are really transacting at how much already? Highest floor above 2 million already.
Yeah,
right?
but I remember it was starting from at about 1.75.
1.75.
Yes.
Yeah. So remember just now I mentioned how we determine 2,200 PSF, right? This number, right? To do this case study across all, right? We got a reason for it lah. So just now you mentioned Ori transacting about 1.75 million for
Starting from 2 bed 2
lowest
bath.
floor unit lah. Why? Because their size for a 2 bedroom study, right, is actually what, 700 square feet over here. Multiply by their lowest floor about 2,500 PSF, right? They are about $1.75 million over here. So this is the absolute quantum that developer is getting
Looking
back
at,
for the lowest floor unit lah, in the Ori lah, right? But do you know that the Ori, the land price was purchased maybe about 100 PSF higher than ELTA. Yeah. So when it comes for ELTA turn, right, to launch this time around, I feel that the developer will be looking at the absolute quantum instead of a PSF over here. And how I determine 2,200? So let's say at 1.75 million, this is the quantum that Ori sold at, right? We divided by 807 square feet. Actually, it's about how much PSF? It's about 21 maybe 6-ish PSF, 2168 PSF over here, which is this number what? This number is actually very close to the number that we determined because of what? Because at 2168 they also need to, they got bigger
Additional
area,
space,
there's more
yeah.
additional cost involved, so which is about 2,200 starting from. But of course for a 2 bed plus study, maybe a 1 plus study, the PSF may be
a bit higher than this.
a bit higher
But
right?
on average, for easy calculation, we just use 2002 lah.
Yes.
For more information on the prices, if you want to know more, do contact us. We'll share with you when developer
yeah.
release more prices.
Because after seeing this, and if you don't understand, just please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to share with you more over here, right? Yeah. And next, again, the 2 plus study price prediction, 807 square feet. Lowest floor, about 1.775, thereabout to about 2.114 million, right? So I feel that the price is pretty attractive because why? This number one, this is of bigger size, very close to a 3-bedder compact size, right? And other new developments in the market, they are selling about 700 square feet only, yeah, for a 2 plus study. So it's pretty huge for a 2 plus study over here, right? Okay, so next, let's talk about the rentability for a 2-bedroom where we have summarized into 3 different categories. 2-bed 1 bath versus the 2-bed 2 bath, AYE facing versus non-AYE facing, as well as the ROI in terms of sale for low floor versus the high floor.
So for rental yield, right, like what I mentioned earlier, a lot of people will tell me, say, hey Claudia, 2 bed 1 bath really can buy or not? I think I'll just go for 2 bed 2 bath. But what if on the day of balloting, your queue number not so good and then all the 2 bed 2 bath are sold already? Will you still want to consider 2 bed 1 bath? Does it mean that ROI and the rental yield is not as good? So we have actually taken out some information from the website and then gotten the rental yield for Clermont, which was asking for about 4.1, transacted at 4.1 thousand. Can you hand me circle over here? Yeah, so 4,001 monthly rental, and it was purchased at 1.35, which gives us the rental yield of 3.6. Not bad. So what if you bought a 2 bed 2 bath instead? 2 bed 2 bath, it was bought at 1.54 million. Rental is about 4,006 monthly. And also, you'll see that rental yield is 3.6%,
right?
So rental yield for 2 bed 1 bath and 2 bed 2 bath is actually quite similar, or rather it's the same here lah.
Yeah, so actually there's no one thing to say that 1 bath is better than 2 bath when it comes to a rental yield but of course people always say that 1 bath higher rental yield. People always say that 2 bath two bed, two bath, higher profitability. I agree lah, actually. Yeah, two bed, two bath will have higher profitability. Why? Because you are targeting own stay owner and also investors.
Yeah,
also,
both you can target
right?
both own stay and investors.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when people say a two bed, one bath hard to sell, I feel that yes, harder to sell, but the strategy over here, right, is to be part sell, part rent kind of strategy over here lah. Yeah, but the whole idea here, right, is to share with you that, right, if imagine you can afford a two bed, one bath, you should actually go for a two bed, one bath lah, rather than a one plus study lah. But if you can go for a two bed, two bath, then over a two bed, one bath, then go for a two bed, two bath. But if two bed, two bath, no more stock already, two bed, one bath is something that you can consider lah. Yeah, because again, you get the same rental yield, just that it takes longer to sell over here, right? Yeah, so
Okay, so now we'll talk about low floor versus high floor. As mentioned earlier, right, if you take a look at the rental for the low floor at level 4, we are getting at about 4,001 rent as compared to 18th floor, also 4,001
not
rent.
much of a difference.
So there's no difference at all.
Yeah, no
So low
difference.
floor, high floor both get the same rent.
Yes.
So ultimately, it boils down to the rental yield. So assuming if let's say ELTA, right, we're gonna take the same rental, or rather we add a bit more because ELTA will be a bit newer. So at 4,002, right? If we were to buy a low floor at level 4 at 2,002 PSF, coming to about 1.35 mil, our rental yield would be 3.7.
It's pretty decent in today's context.
Yes, as compared to a higher floor, which you are potentially buying at about $1.63 million, right? And getting the same rent, your yield would be only 3%.
Yes.
So if you're going for rental yield route, or you want to collect rental yield, right, then I think going for a low floor makes more sense as compared to a high floor. But potentially there's still the things that we need to highlight, which is higher floor will be easier to rent out.
Easier to sell, yeah.
And easier to sell.
Correct.
Yes, but doesn't mean that you cannot rent out lah.
Yeah,
Just
doesn't
that
mean
maybe
that high floor give you a higher rental yield, like what we're trying to say over here.
So ultimately, pros and cons for buying high and low, and doesn't mean that low floor is very bad. It's also very good for those people who are looking for rental yield.
Yep. So next we'll talk about the ROI for Clairvaughn over here, using Clairvaughn as an example. Actually, what is ROI? I'm sure maybe some of y'all don't know it. Okay, so let's explain. ROI is actually return on investment. Yeah. So what's ROI? Yeah. So assume you buy a 1 million property over here, you pay a 25% down payment, which is about how much? 250,000. So this is the money that you put into the property, right? But when you sell the property, you get a profit of maybe about 250,000, right? So you put in 250,000, but you come out, you get extra 250,000. So it's 100% return on investment over here. But over here, this is an interesting data that we have found over here, that the date of purchase of this property over here, you can see was sold on the same day, 12 December 2020. When it comes to the resale or sub-sale, 20th November versus 22nd November. So the data is very close. So this is something that is very relatable to what we are trying to share over here. A low floor unit over here, this is high floor. Okay, but when it comes to exit, their profit is about the same. In fact, the level 2 unit has more profit, but the entry price is lower than the higher floor unit over here. Yeah, so it doesn't mean that high floor unit, you can get higher rental ROI, right? So over here, low floor unit, you get ROI. But does that mean that once low floor, no more stock already, you don't go for high floor? No. Actually, higher floor, you can still buy. But when it comes to exit, like we mentioned earlier, it's easier to sell. Yeah, because buyers who maybe looking for own stay, they will prefer a good view. Yeah, then they'll be more emotional to give you a higher price over here. Yeah, so if you can go for a lower floor, go for a lower floor. But if there's no more lower floor, can you really buy a higher floor? Just now I mentioned the rental is still pretty decent.
Easier to rent out also.
Correct. Yeah, and of course there's also other developments that we have seen. Low floor and high floor, there's about 400 PSF difference. Like maybe in Avenue South over here, right? Yeah, but there are also other developments who don't have view one. But they also from low floor to high floor also increase 400 PSF. So that means that what? Low floor level 5, you buy at this price, you are facing a block in front. But you buy a high floor 400 PSF difference, opposite you see your neighbor. Correct? Yeah. So, but for products like Clairvaughn, ELTA is a bit different because one side, is pretty, actually both sides is pretty much unblocked over here, right? So I think that if ELTA is high floor, not so much of unblocked, you can really consider about it, right? Okay, so next, let's talk about rental yield, expressway, non-expressway facing, right?
So for the 2 bed 2 bath, for both Clairvaughn, the AYE facing, as well as the school facing, right, you notice that their rental is about close enough, about $100 PSF, $100 difference only. So whether you ask me, rental yield for inner facing is better, or is the rental yield worse or for expressway, I think there's not much of a difference lah. So that is what we can conclude for ELTA lah.
Okay. Our 2-bedroom top choice over here. So this is a summary of our B1 and B2, right? Over here, and this is our B3, P, and B4 over here, right? So this is the tower view, actually like a tower view, prediction price that we came out with. So what is the strategy that you should adopt when it comes to booking day?
I think if you ask the normal average agent, right, usually they will tell you, say, okay, if you want to buy this stack, we'll start from lowest to highest.
Yes.
Right? Correct. But what differentiates a good agent from a bad agent is that he or she is able to advise you based on what is the available units and whether you should consider swapping to another bedroom type, right?
So the strategy over here, right, in our opinion, is that the first thing, if you're going for a 2-bedder, you should go for a lower floor for B1 and B2 first, followed by a mid-floor B1 and B2. And to go to the higher floor unit, you see level 29 is actually 1.54. At this price, I feel that you shouldn't prioritize this anymore. Okay, so you should go to a low floor 700 square feet over here, because why? It's about 1.54 over here.
Same quantum.
So you can see it's the same price over here, but you get what? You get a bigger livable space over here.
Toilet.
Yeah, correct. So this is our so 1, 2, and 3 over here, right? Yeah. So the strategy here is to what? Go for B1, B2, low floor over here.
Then mid floor.
Right. Then after that, again B1, B2, mid floor. This is low. This is mid. Right. And finally, go to a B3 and B4 low floor over here.
Yep.
So and so forth thereafter. Right. So focus on the price range to make a clear decision on that day, because you should know that when you should walk away from a certain level lah. Right.
And knowing this is very important, because on the day itself is going to be very, very messy and you'll be very panicky. So understanding this prior to your booking day is something that you need to know lah. But if this here and there is very confusing, right, do reach out to us and then we will advise you accordingly lah. Because I think over the video sometimes it's a bit confusing. You rewatch and then you still don't understand, then we will come in person to explain to you lah.
So next, let's talk about the 3-bedroom analysis, where Claudia will be sharing with you on the 2 different layouts that is in the market over here.
Yeah, so actually for the 3-bedroom in ELTA, right, it's quite clear cut. Like what he said, only 2 layout, type C1 as well as C2P.
Total of 3 stacks.
3 stacks. So only C1 in this whole development, right, has 2 stacks. The rest of the other layouts are only 1 stack. So for stack 4 and 9, right, both are the school facing, total of 72 units. Basically, it's very functionable, a typical compact 3-bedroom at 926. So when you enter, there's privacy over here, enclosable kitchen with window and 3 functionable good size room. Decent size, yes. So for C2P, it's at 1,023 square feet. And where does the bigger size goes to? It actually goes to the dry kitchen, wet kitchen, and WC, and 1 flexi study room. So this is the difference in terms of their kitchen layout. And also dumbbell in terms of their rooms. The bedroom 3, actually, you can potentially convert into a junior master
guest
bed
room. When the parents come over, they have their own privacy. In fact, this dumbbell layout, I think, is pretty rare, because why? A conventional 3-bedder will have 1 more bedroom over here, correct? When you have a 1 more bedroom, it means what? You have a longer corridor, right? But in this case, there is no long corridor, which means 1,023 square feet of fully functional space over
very
here.
Efficient
over here. And what we do see here over here is quick. It's pretty much, we don't really see in any other developments over here, where the developer actually provide a WDP and a ADR.
I think the newer ones now got come a lot of pattern. So this is the one
so
that
ADR is what? Air drying rack, right? And also a WDP water dispenser over here. So these are provided by the developers over here. But what we want to highlight over here is that, right, the C1
starting price very attractive.
It will be very attractive, starting from maybe about 2 million. Later we'll be sharing with you more. But what we noticed, right, for the Ori, right, is that the 3-bedroom actually moved very, very fast.
Yes.
Which is what we predicted that it will happen. Yeah. So I think it will also happen to the ELTA.
Because I think a lot of the 3-bedroom people that didn't get to buy in Ori, right, definitely will flow over to ELTA one. And the
Definitely.
price is so attractive, definitely
Correct.
I think it will be moving very, very fast.
Yes. So if you don't have a good queue number and the three room lower floor goes off already and left with the higher floor 3-bedder, should you really go for a higher floor 3-bedder, or you should consider to go for a maybe
I
a
think
lower
for
floor
this
4-bedder?
kind of people, right, they have to prepare two things. One
Yes.
is either you increase your budget if you can lah, to go for a D1 4-bedder low floor, or if you really cannot stretch, then you have to go down to a 2+ study
maybe a
or
2+
even
study,
2-bedder. Yeah.
thereabout. Yep. Okay, so next, the price prediction for a 3-bedder 926 square feet. Actually, it's very attractive. Over here, you can see the starting from price for a 3-bedroom 900 square feet is from about
2 mil.
2.05 thereabout. Like I mentioned earlier, Ori, Trump Park, 2+ study is already at how much already? Above 2 million already. But over here, getting extra bedroom at close to about 2.05 million thereabout. Yeah. Okay, so next, the price prediction for 1023.
Starting from price at 2002 PSF
Yes.
is 2.25 million.
Yep. Again, I feel that it's very affordable, because of the $1 million HDBs in the area.
Clementi has a lot actually.
Actually, after Toa Payoh, I think Clementi has pretty decent $1
and-
million HDB.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Toa Payoh 5 room recently already transferred about how much?
1.6
1.6
like
million
that,
thereabout. So will we see 1.6 million in Clementi for HDB? We won't know.
Yeah.
Time will tell. But
Yes.
currently they are about 1
Yeah.
million over here.
So it's
Yeah.
very easy for the HDB upgraders to purchase into
Yes.
a 3-bedroom in ELTA.
Yeah, so you can see over here the affordability gap. Over here, this is some data that we drew, we extracted out in Clementi, along Clementi Avenue 1 area. The transactions here are already at how much already?
Close
As high as about
1
1
million
million, there about 1.06 million, there about.
Minimally 900
Correct.
plus.
And this is
yeah.
as of January 2025,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So by the time ELTA TOPs, will these HDB prices go higher? 1.2 million, 1.3 million, we won't know, but there's a good chance now looking at the price index, right? Yeah. But what we are trying to show you is that, right, those people who enter into this BTO, let's say purchase at about 550, 600,000 thereabout, right? They can sell about 1 million as of today. In future, maybe 1.1, 1.2, right? But as of today, after they sell, they have a cash proceeds of about, and CPF refund about close to about $740,000 thereabout. Okay, so if today you were to enter into a 3-bedder 926 square feet at 2.037 million, in order to make 350,000, you need to sell at about 2.39 million thereabout, right? And to sell at 2.39 million thereabout, who
Your
are
future
your buyers? Your
buyers,
future buyers are,
right?
but do they have the money to down pay for this property or not, right? So we do see that over here, these people can afford a 740,000. I mean,
To
with
down
the cash
pay,
to down pay,
yes.
and all in all, they're only paying about 685,000
To down pay
if they
for
were to
your
purchase
house
at 2.39 million.
in the future.
Yeah, and they have some spare. Yeah, so only by selling at $1 million. If they can sell higher, they have more
Yeah.
cash.
So it's very easy for Clementi people to actually buy over from you if you were to purchase a ELTA 3-bedder now. In the future, you want to make 350 profit. Is definitely doable. And also Clementi, recently there were a few projects, I think Clavon and Park Clementi's that recently TOP. So these people, if they want to do a 1-to-1 exchange in their property, right, they can definitely do this swap very easily because they also would have made quite a decent profit from their property.
Yeah. So our top choices for a 3-bedroom, right, would be the C2P, which we feel that this will also be the one that will be selling off first.
Yeah, because only
right?
one stack, 36 units. I think it's very fast clear one.
Yeah. So the cutoff point for 1023 is the higher. I think it's at about 2006 PSF and above.
So definitely there's a point where you reached a price, right? I feel that you can consider to upgrade to a
4-bedder lower floor unit.
Because it's the same price as this high floor 3-bedroom.
Correct. In fact, 4-bedder make decent profit at the Clavon.
Yeah.
We'll share with you more later, right? So we predict that the C2P will sell first, followed by C1. And then D1. Yeah, so you need to check the price comparison, which unit, will likely sell first so that you can prioritize your selection.
I think it's important to get your agent to check the prices of D1 as well. If let's say your queue number is not so good and you're really trying to aim for 3-bedder in ELTA.
So next will be 4-bedroom analysis over here. Couple of layouts over here. We have the type D1, which is something we mentioned earlier, and D2P over here. 1184 square feet and 1313 square feet. Yeah, so Claudia will be sharing with you more on the layouts over here.
Okay, so for 4 bedroom, I think there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 layouts. Okay, so for D1 itself is 1184. It's the smallest 4 bedroom in the whole development. It's AYE facing, and there's a bit of diagonal west sun over here. Okay, so if you take a look compared for D1 to D2P, right, at 1313, the main difference I would say is the living room size lah. So one is 40.3 square meter and the other one is 44.2 square meter.
Where's the 4 square meter?
Okay, so the only difference I would say is most obvious one is the long walkway over here. Yeah.
Not so
compared to here.
right?
Yeah. So other than that, the living dining space here will be slightly smaller because it's 7 square meter versus 7.3. Room sizes and the others are quite comparable.
Right. For D2P, it has a junior master room.
Oh yes. So over here, if you see, right, the junior master room, there's an ensuite toilet lah. So it's good for those people who prefer to have another master bedroom lah.
We'll be talking about the 4 bedroom dual key over here now. Actually, many of times people think that 4 bedroom dual key cannot buy lah.
I personally don't like lah.
Why
I don't know. I think it's a bit harder to sell in the future. Yeah, unless you're buying for rental.
Rental yield, right?
Yeah.
So you can see over here the rental yield of 4%. How we derive 4% over here is that
assuming that we purchase this unit 1313 at 2002 PSF, right? It amounts up to 2.88 million. And because it's dual key, you can rent out the studio or the 1 bedder and the 3 bedder to 2 separate tenants. So assuming that you collect 3,006 here and 6,003 for the 3 bedroom based on Clairevont's transaction. We are looking at about close to 10K per month.
Which is
for
4% rental yield,
so
which
it's
is
very
pretty
good.
decent over here. But actually, many people say, dual key cannot buy. But actually, when it comes to EC, EC also a dual key, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that EC dual key can sell because why? Easier to exit.
Because the quantum is lower.
Quantum is lower. So easier for people to digest and accept.
Yes.
But for condo dual key, right, it's more difficult to sell because prices is a bit different from a typical 4 bedroom. Yeah, and can be a few 100,000 difference. Right?
Like 200-300K difference.
Correct. So for example, Ori, right, for a 3 bedder that time it was almost fully sold at the time. Buyers got no choice already. Then after that we realized that actually the dual key for Ori
can consider.
Why
Because to be honest, a lot of people didn't ask for the prices for the dual key.
Yes.
But when we went to take a look, right, we noticed that the dual key same floor actually they were like $100 to $130 PSF lower.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
So if dual key is priced is of a lower PSF than a typical 4 bedder, right? Then you top up a little bit more, like maybe 80,000-90,000 more for a bigger space.
Why not, right?
So why not? Correct. So it might be quite worth it also lah. Right.
So don't totally kill the idea of a dual key. If let's say you are really considering, do give it you can ask your agent to ask for the price and see whether it's worth to do the top up or not. Yeah.
We'll be talking about a 4 bedroom plus study next. 1,507 square feet. I feel that is quite big for a 4 bedroom study lah.
Yeah.
I kind of like the living area. I feel that it's quite wide. Again, they provide the water dispenser, right? And the air drying rack over here.
Yes. So over here, as mentioned, got the air drying rack, water dispenser, wider frontage for the living dining, and there's a additional study and home shelter compared to the normal 4 bedroom.
Correct. But the downside is what?
Downside, I feel that the quantum is quite high because of the size, and also because you're buying a more luxurious unit, right? I would expect to get like a private lift lah. Yeah.
Right.
And paying at 3.3 mil Yeah, I think
Clermont has private lift.
Clermont got
Clermont got
yeah.
So this is the downside lah. Yeah. So we'll share with you our priorities later lah. Yeah. But if you do a comparison now, the 1507 just now we mentioned about versus Clermont. Clermont has a private lift.
Actually, if you ask me, right, whether ELTA has a more superior layout, I think it's not bad as a 4+ study. But then if in the future when you want to sell to resale buyers, right, definitely they will want to compare with Clairevont's 4 bedroom. So if we take a look and draw out 4 bedroom at Clairvont, right, at 1,582 square feet, what we have compared to ELTA is that we have a private lift, which is something more atas already. People buying this quantum will definitely want something more Atas, yes. So also it has a very big kitchen, and there's a dry kitchen area, and it is also dumbbell, and has a junior master bed.
Kind of like a landscape living, right?
Yes, and if you ask me, whether the floor plan for Clairvon is it less superior, I don't think so, like, because you see, even the master bed, right, it has like a walk-in wardrobe area, which I think is pretty good. The only setback is that probably in ELTA, all the rooms are considered like attached toilet lah. But for Clairvon itself, like some rooms
common bedroom.
is not attached.
Yeah,
So that's the not so good side lah. But
which is important for a 4-bedroom actually to have an attached bathroom, right?
So I think that's something that you can consider. But ultimately, I would still prefer Clairvon 4-bedroom premium. I think it's pretty nice to have a private lift. If let's say I'm gonna pay 3.3 mil for a property. So yeah.
Yeah. So lastly, we'll go to the 4-bedroom top choices. We prioritize how we should go about during the booking day over here. So the first one that we will go for, that we'll select, will definitely be the D1. And I feel that D1 will also be one of the first few to go off first. Yeah, for a 4-bedder. Why? Because the 3-bedder higher level, right, can actually go for a D1 unit already over here. So that will be our top choice for our D1 over here.
Easily acceptable for the upgraders. Actually.
Easily acceptable, yeah. Second choice will be equal for D2P and our D3K.
The 1313
and our dual key, same size. Right? But if the dual key can go for it only if the PSF is lower.
Depends on the launch price, to be honest, because we're not sure if it will be launched lower.
Yes. But if it's higher, then of course we will prioritize this one first. Right? Then lastly, we'll go for the D4 4-bedder study at 1507 square feet over here. Okay, so lastly, let's talk about the 5-bedroom analysis over here. And actually, the Showflat is fantastic for a 5-bedder.
I saw the Showflat. I really like the living dining area. Really very grand
space. Yeah, but however, I think there's no private lift, right?
Yeah.
For this. But the good thing about this unit type is that all bedrooms are what? Have an attached bathroom.
Like the 4-bedroom. I think the concept for the 4 and 5-bedroom in ELTA, right, is quite similar. Just that you have additional 1-bedroom lah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Facing wise, the larger units they are facing the outside side. But a higher floor will have fantastic view lah.
Yeah, unblocked view
over here. Yeah, I think buyers for own stay, you will definitely want to have a nice view rather than facing your neighbor every day lah. Right? Yeah, but in ELTA, this can give you an unblocked view.
Usually own stay, I think they will start from top.
You start from top.
Right?
Yeah. For investment, people will go from low, but for own stay, people will go from top.
Yeah. Starting from prices for 5-bedroom here is about 3.9 mil at 2002 PSF lah. So if you want to compare with the direct neighbor, like what I said earlier for Clairvon, right? Definitely people who come see the 5-bedroom next time will also go and see 5-bedroom at Clairvon. So if you compare their floor plan side by side, right, you'll notice that the major difference is the private lift. This one doesn't have lah, so it's just a normal entrance and private lift. And then both also have the junior master bed at one side at the dumbbell concept. And also there is a tuck-in walk-in wardrobe for Clairvon. Downside, no attached toilet, direct access lah.
So potentially for the 4-5-bedder in ELTA, right? Actually the PSF may be lower.
A bit lower because bigger unit.
Lower because bigger unit. Got chance below 2 lot.
Cannot guarantee.
Cannot guarantee lah. But if really below 2, you should really go for it lah. Right? Because the price is going to be very attractive over here. Right?
Yeah, so also another project that also quite new in the area is Park Clementi's. If you take a look at the floor plan, you realize that there's a lot of wasted space here.
Very long corridor.
Because all the rooms are at one side.
And don't forget the void area.
Yeah, because some units have
a void area.
Yeah, some units have higher ceiling.
It means that they are not 1711.
Oh yeah.
They are potentially smaller than that lah.
Yes.
Right? Not potentially, they are smaller than that.
Yes. So if you ask me whether ELTA or Park Clementi is better, I would prefer ELTA in this sense. But if you ask me about Clairvon, then I think comparable lah. People might still prefer to go for Clairvon if they feel that private lift is important to them.
Yes. But for Park Clementi, the corridor is really very long, I must emphasize. Can you just imagine that you forget to take things from the living room, you need to walk more than 10 meters
it's very far.
Bedroom, so it's very far. Next, we want to show you about the 4-bedder profits at Clairvon. So for Clairvon, there's 5-bedder, but there's nobody selling it.
Nobody
Can you just imagine if Clairvon, 5-bedder unit, one person come out and sell. Just one person only, correct? How much would the profit be? Looking at the 4-bedder profit over here, you can see that the owners at Clementi 4-bedder, they are actually profiting about close to how much already?
Close to 1 to 1 million.
850,000, 900,000 already. Potentially can be $1 million. Yeah, for a 4-bedder of a smaller size. 1,
So 5-bedder, can you imagine how much more they will make?
Sell at Clementi, I think will be more than this already.
Definitely lah.
Yeah, correct. So what if you bought a unit at ELTA? Can you imagine how much profit will you likely see? I'll leave it to you to imagine.
Then you can share the Park Clementi's 5-bedder for sale.
Yeah, so
Sold
for
already.
Park Clementi's, yeah, the 5-bedder, there are transactions already. Actually, Park Clementi's, the landscaping also not bad.
It's
I've seen
nice.
that. Very resort feel.
My sister-in-law stays there.
Yeah,
very nice.
resort.
I love it.
Very nice pool
Yeah.
area. Yeah,
Yeah.
very resort. Yeah. So over here you can see the profits of them are already making about 800,000 for a 5-bedder.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here. So it's a lot. So it's pretty consistent. You can see that Clementi, Park Clementi's, they are making how much already? 800,000, 900,000. J-Scape Treasures area, they are also similarly making similar profit for a 5-bedder. Yeah. So if you can buy as big as you can, go for it. Right? Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do a summary of what we have shared earlier. So if, let's say you are going to target for the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom, right? What we suggest is that you go for the lower floor for the 1-bed and 2-bed, because the rental yield will be better. And also you need to adopt the part rent, part sell strategy so that it will take a bit longer to sell. So in the meantime, do collect some rental. I think it's very, very good rental yield in the area as shared in our previous slides for Clementi. And if let's say you're going for the 2-bedroom, right, if you are looking for profit and capital gain, I would say for high and low floor would be about the same. So ultimately, still try to go for a lower floor first, if your queue number is good and you can afford to go for a low floor.
So for 3-bedder, right, we suggest that you should consider going for the lower floor first over the higher floor. Yeah, but of course, if you can go for low floor, go for low floor. If you cannot, high floor also can make money.
Because
right?
I would feel that a lot of them are own stay, so they will prefer to go for high floor.
Correct. In fact, the 3-bedder, 4-bedder, 5-bedder, higher floor will likely profit more because there's of the own stay element that's over there, right? Yeah, but if you were to compare 3-bedroom high floor versus a 4-bedroom low floor, I would definitely go for a 4-bedroom lower floor because the price tag is going to be similar to a 3-bedroom high floor.
Yeah, and in the future when you want to sell, right, the because of the bigger size, your profit will be more.
Correct. Yeah, but if 4-bedroom low floor no more already, then go for what? I will go for a 3-bedroom higher floor first floor. Yeah, I won't go for a 4-bedroom mid floor because if the gap is too big, then go for a 3-bedroom high floor over here. Yeah. So we hope that right you can use this analysis right to choose good units for yourself. Should you have a good ballot number, even if you don't have a good ballot number, how you should prioritize your purchase, right? You can actually view from this video.
I think most importantly, if end of the day you watch and watch and watch, you still don't understand and you prefer to have a more customized strategizing plan, right, do reach out to us and we'll definitely share with you more on how we feel about ELTA and how you should prioritize and shortlist the units based on your budget.
Right. Yeah. So usually before viewing of the Showflat, actually our client actually reach out to us to do some consultation over maybe a Zoom session, and we can share with them on some other strategies or where are other opportunities or what are the things to look out for when entering into a new purchase to at least safeguard your exit in the future. Like you don't want to buy into something and then make it very difficult to sell in the future, right?
Also, calculation is very important. So be very prepared before you enter into the Showflat booking day itself.
Yes.
So just a reminder, preview for ELTA will be coming out really soon during Chinese New Year period on 7th of February and booking date will be on the 22nd of February.
Yes, and this happens all during the CNY period.
Yes.
It's a good time, right, to reach out to your siblings, your parents, right, to consider a bulk purchase.
Yes, because we will be also expecting ELTA to be received very well by the public.
Yes.
So be expecting more people to come for this preview and booking. So if you want to have an edge over others and be able to secure a unit, I think bulk purchase will be something that you want to consider. It will allow you to go one day before the public to book a unit.
Because I have clients that really want to buy into something, 2,000 over queue number. Oh, 777 units, they can't buy anything.
Yeah.
Right? But if you go for a bulk purchase, get your family member, your immediate family to buy together with you, you get to enjoy priority
Both
selection.
can buy and secure your unit. So why not, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if let's say ELTA is something that you feel you want to explore something else, there is another project that is coming up.
Also happening on the 7th
Same
of
date.
February.
Preview
launching.
7th Feb,
Yes.
booking 22nd Feb,
Correct.
and it is
That's going to be Parktown.
yes, Parktown Residence at Tampines.
Yes.
So it's an integrated project which we will share more in the next video.
Yep.
So do stay tuned and we'll see you in
In the next
Parktown.
episode.
Yes.
Alright,
Bye.
alright, bye.